What's the good word, y'all? DKB here. So I was taking a look at draft options, kind of the way our team is built. What does the future look like? And the question popped up, what would it take for Mekhi Becton to receive a contract extension from the New York Jets, taking into account that we expect to decline his fifth-year option that's going to come after the draft per Joe Douglas, and he'll be playing on the final year of his rookie season, essentially in 2023. So let's dive into some of the history of what's been going on with Mekhi Becton, and hopefully we can get a solid projection of what it'll look like or what he may need to achieve for us to strongly consider giving him an option, a contract extension, whether that be a 1-year prove-it deal, whether it be something that's actually 3 or 4 years with, some level of guarantee money, right? So let's get into it. We take a look at probably the weight issues being the center of everything, right? It's been a storyline that's been crazy and, honestly, somewhat of a distraction to a moderate enough level when it really shouldn't be. I mean, his weight has been fluctuating since his time in Louisville. I heard at one point he was probably in the 390 range. We see Coach Scott Satterfield come in. He takes a look at Mekhi. He puts him on a treadmill program. Mekhi drops to 364 pounds, and then it's all kudos and high spirits around the program as they see this mammoth of a man, look like he can move mountains and ice glaciers, but with a level of finesse and power that you don't see for men his size. So, we have those same issues carry into his New York Jets tenure. Up and down weight fluctuations his rookie season. He dealt with a number of injuries, chest issues. We know about the kneecap. And a lot of that seems like it's centered around the fact that at his size, having that additional weight is not helping him whatsoever. And it seems like there was a lack of accountability. I mean, Coach Satterfield had to come in and, give him something to follow in order to bring the best out of him. I don't know what it was that clicked this offseason. Maybe it was fatherhood. Maybe it was the fact that he's realizing he's kind of flushing his career down the toilet. If indeed his injury history isn't necessarily freak accidents, but due in part to, unhealthy habits and what his weight is, that's causing additional stress. He turned it around. He looks great, right? Rich Samiti recently reported he looks like he's about 350 pounds. He looks much slimmer than that. So all of that is fantastic news. I think that was the biggest step we honestly needed Becton to take this year, was that level of accountability, really looking in the mirror, really, getting into the gym, doing his cardio, slimming down, eating healthy, doing all of the things that needed to do, especially with the New York Jets and the people around him. And, I dropped the video on that before. I'll see if I can find it again for you guys. But there's a lot of people within his inner circle that really was helping this entire time. So it leaves me with the feeling that it truly was Mekhi Becton and not a failure of resources or support on his side. We get into his game history now, though, right? We're talking about a guy that so far has only been able to start 14 games, a total of 739 snaps, and he's had something like 7 or 8 penalties, 6 of those being false starts. Another one was an illegal formation. Couldn't necessarily figure out what the 8th one was, but, that's the general numbers from what I was able to check out. We take a look at his rookie season. He comes in. Ironically, the grades show him as a better pass protector than a run blocker, but we've seen what he did. He's made a IHOP highlight reel out of pancaking guys left and right. I mean, you take a look at some of the list and names of people that he was just literally mauling and tossing around and being able to just stonewall to certain degrees. Joey Bosa, Max Crosby when he was on fire, Myles Garrett, and then we bring in Carl Lawson, the following season. Things got a little shaky in 2021 for us when we heard a lot of reports about Carl Lawson dominating matchups against Mekhi Becton, which, again, a lot of that probably centered back around changing a scheme, going from Adam Gase to, Robert Saleh and them. And then the fact that, again, I guess the weight issues, the lack of accountability, different things of that nature. So When we take a look at the rookie season, though, a lot of people had such high expectations that sophomore year he was going to take a massive jump. I mean, I remember the survey that came out. Executives around the league ended up ranking him as the sixth best offensive tackle going into 2021, even though the tape and even the statistical numbers wouldn't necessarily back that up. But there was a lot of projection there about what he would look like his second year in the league. And, we know now that never came to fruition. But nonetheless, his rookie season was very phenomenal. And that's probably the basis of what we should be looking at for his baseline, since that's the majority of the tape that we're going to have and really all we can go off of. 2020, his rookie year, he has a 74.4 grade per PFF. 2021, in only a handful of snaps, it drops down to 67.3. But we've seen the struggles in the preseason. We, kind of hoped and prayed that a lot of that was him switching schemes and the fact that Carl Lawson is a monster pass rusher. So, we figured maybe iron sharpening iron. That turned out not to be the case, as it seemed like he struggled to kind of adjust to this West Coast scheme. But nonetheless, when you take a look at kind of some other grades that were put out there about how things trended towards the end of his rookie year, 78.3 pass block rate over the last 7 weeks of his rookie year, 72.4 run block rate. That puts him at 9th best as a pass blocker, 10th best as a run blocker. So he definitely ended up improving and progressing as the season went along. And he ended up being one of only 6 left tackles that had a top 10 grade to finish out the season, the only rookie among those. So, I would say, looking at things as it stands now, knowing that he's been working pretty diligently with the offensive line legend Duke Manyweather for quite some time, he's not been healthy, but he's been able to get up to the point that he was doing workouts and different drills and different things like that when it comes to hand placement, stances, all of these things. So he's kind of mentally been able to prepare for a while. Physically, he hasn't been able to really stay out there. This offseason looks really, really good for him. But I think the baseline is there, a 6-sack rookie season, and, seeing his dominance in the run game, even though his run grade wasn't necessarily runaway elite, I think that is literally the baseline. That is kind of the expectation we should look at now. I think potentially maybe you can say there's improvements there as a pass protector already. There's nothing to base that off of. It's really just out of a lot of respect for what Duke Manyweather has done for a lot of the offensive line talents that have gone through him. But it's going to be a lot of projection. I would say he probably has to mitigate this upcoming season to obviously playing the full 17 games and beyond, ideally if we reach the playoffs, and he probably won't be able to allow more than 3 or 4 sacks, and we're going to again have to see him become Highway 77 and maul people left and right. So, the world of offensive lines is a little bit crazier. If this was a wide receiver, I can throw out some stats and all of these different things, but really all we have to go off of will be some of those statistical numbers, like his pass blocking grade, his run block rate, which are kind of hard to come by and a little bit subjective, and then his sack totals. But I would definitely say he can't go above 4 or 5 sacks, and he really has to look like he's dominating his opponent from the other side of the line. I think ultimately it'll come down to the game tape and him being durable. If he gets a 17-game season put on tape, then he automatically has a much higher chance of at least being able to walk out with, let's say, a 2-year deal as a contract extension. I don't think, with all the things that have been happening, him settling his new family in, him finally kind of coming into manhood or parenthood for himself, I don't think he would want to just displace his whole family and look for the best opportunity. And the New York Jets have been good to him this entire time, even though there was a lot of reports that the team is losing patience and all of these other things, which was valid in my eyes. But I think this is a marriage that can still work. Should we hedge our bet in the draft with a guy that has a lot of upside and maybe you could potentially start right away? Yes, I look at Dwayne Brown as the more reasonable left tackle just based on health and, history of them being able to play. But I think this has all the makings to be an excellent season for sure. He's playing next to Laken Tomlinson. We hope there can be a massive improvement there. Laken Tomlin's always enjoyed having a guy like a Trent Brown next to him, so hopefully that brings out his best and vice versa. But Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Maybe there's something I haven't considered. What would it take for you, or at least for Mekhi Becton, for you to feel comfortable with the team saying, let's go ahead and offer him a contract extension? Let me know in the comments. Appreciate the guys' support, and I will check you guys out again. Peace.